Bracketed soil. It is highly swelling and shrinkage characteristics. They have to change that complete that soil, or you have to mix with some other properties like lime or cement to increase that desirable properties of the soil, hmm, to make that stabilizations, and also to facilitate compactions and increase load bearing capacity. And also it's very important purpose of the soil stabilization is to be reduce compressibility and thereby settlement, and also improve the permeability characteristics. It's very important to improve the permeability characteristics. Especially that limited financial resource to be provided a complete network systems conventional method to construction of the roads, effective utilization of locally available materials, soils, and other suitable stabilizing agents, and also encourage use of industrial wastage. Especially industrial wastage is a fly ash, or it may be pozzolanic or non-pozzolanic fly ash may be available. To use that material to encourage that industrial wastage to building low cost constructions. There are various methods of soil stabilization. So we already know that especially mechanical stabilization, soil cement, soil lime, soil bitumen, soil fly ash, lime fly ash stabilization, lime fly ash, and bone macadam. In this method, he'll go for different methods. First, we'll come to that mechanical stabilizations. So this method is suitable for low volume roads, in especially village roads in rainfall, low rainfall areas especially. We'll go with the mechanical stabilizations. This method is also involves correctly proportionate to the aggregate and soil adequately compacted to get mechanically stable air. The very important basic principles of mechanical stabilization is to correct proportion and effective compactions. Whatever that materials to be used, we'll have to go with the correct proportions. Whatever that mechanical stabilization, we'll go with some percentage of soil, or some percentage of lime, or some percentage of bitumen, or some percentage of cement. We'll have to go with some basic principles of mechanical stabilization is correct proportion, and also whatever that mix, after that you'll go with effective compaction. Some of that before going to that, you should know that some of the desirable properties of aggregate also you should have to go with adequate strength, incompressibility, less changes in volume, stability with variation in water content, good drainage, less frost stability, and also ease of compaction. Some of the important factors to be affected in mechanical stabilization, mechanical strength of aggregates, very important, and also gradation. Gradation is very important factor. Simply can't go with whatever the material is available. Just have to go with gradations, some proportions. According to that, you have to go with some whatever that methods will go for gradation, and also properties of the soil. That is also very important factors. We should know that what exactly that properties of soil. The soil should be, should know that basic properties, it may be index properties or engineering properties. We should know exactly that properties of the soil, then what exactly we have to go with addition of that particular soil. That is very important properties of the soil index, properties like what is that liquid limit, plastic limit, shrinkage limit. If you go with some of that engineering properties also, you should know sometimes that the strength, compressibility, and also permeability. And also important other factors is to presence of salts in the soil. Already some presence of salts is there. Then what will go for the
ಸರ್ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು ಇವಾಗ ನೀವು ಮುದ್ರಾಜು ಸರ್. ಹಲೋ, ಹಾ ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಹಲೋ, ಹಾ
ಹಲೋ,
ಹಾ ಸರ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ ಸರ್? ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ.
ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಈಗ?
ಹಾ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್, ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
ಹಾ ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
Thank you for that inconvenience. Okay. Now we'll go with some of that methods already discussed about different methods of that stabilization techniques, and also we know that what exactly that mechanical stabilization, desirable properties of the soils, and also factors affecting the mechanical stabilizations. Hello, can you hear me?
ಹಾ ಸರ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಸರ್, ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
Thank you. Okay. Next, if you come to that, one of the of soil cement stabilization is to intimate the mix of soil, cement and water compacted to form a strong base course. If you go with the addition of soil to cement, to go with compact to form a strong base course. Cement treated for a cement modified soil refers to the compacted mix when cement is used in small proportion to impart some strength. Especially is one of that method that the cement soil cement stabilizations. When the soil is not good, it's also that cost of cement is also too high. That's why I have to see that where exactly you have to go with soil cement stabilization techniques, especially the soil's the properties is very poor. They need to go with some mixed proportions of that particular cement with soil. They need to go with stabilization techniques. Soil cement can be used as a sub base or even sub base course for all types of whatever that payments will go with the constructions. Some of the factors affecting the soil cement stabilizations are soil, cement, pulverization and mixing, compaction, curing and additives. So these are that some of the factors. First, we'll go with what exactly the soil. You should know that physical properties of the soil is very important factors. Then only you have to decide that how much percentage of cement has to be mixed with particular soil. And also you should very important particle size distributions. So you should go with some of that very important basic test to conduct with the grain size analysis. That is what we call as particle size distributions. You have to take some soil, you have to go with some sieve analysis, then you have to find out what exactly that particle size of that particular soil. According to that, how much percentage of silt, clay and what are the sand, then you have to be decided what will go for that mixed proportion according to that particle size distributions. And also how much percentage of clay content. Also, we should know that some of that test had to be conducted, even it may be. You should know that particle size distributions, or if you know what exactly that percentage of clay content, you have to go with some hydrometer analysis. That also we should know before that use that particular soil. And also we should know that the specific surface area and also liquid limit and plasticity index is very important characteristics. That liquid limit, we should know that based on that liquid limit and plasticity index, you have to decide that what exactly that percentage of styles to be used with the particular cement or lime or whatever the vitamin should be used for particular stabilization techniques. Here the cement has an increasing cement content generally causes increase in the strength and durability. All of you should know that compared to the soil, that cement is a generally causes increase in the strength and durability characteristics. That the pulverization and mixing is very important. Better the pulverization to and degree of mixing, higher is the strength. And also presence of unpulverized dry lumps reduces the strength. That's why before going to in that field, you have to be mixing is very important. Presence of some unpulverized dry lumps. That's why you have to go with completely pulverized. Then you have to be mixing. Then only will get very good strength. After that, compaction is also very important. By increasing the amount of compaction, dry density of the mix, strength and durability also increases in the compaction. Next, also after that compaction, curing is very important. It's very difficult to curing in that, especially in the field conditions. Adequate moisture content is to be retained in that order to accelerate the strength, especially mixed with the cement and the soil. They have to put some moisture is very important because moisture content is to be retained in the order to accelerate the strength. That's why you go with any blasting or curing of the concrete and put watering. That is the curing. Here also it go with the different methods of curings in that particular field soil stabilization techniques. Just have to be retained in that order to accelerate the strength of some percentage of moisture to be in that particular soil. And also you can use some of the other additives for improve the properties like lime, even can go with sodium hydroxide, sodium carbonate, calcium chloride. These are all additives already there in that cement. If addition of some other additives other than that, you can add with even lime also, you can add sodium hydroxide, sodium carbonate, and also calcium chloride to be added. And also before going to that, you should know that what exactly the design of soil cement mix. Soil cement specimens are prepared with various cement content in constant volume of the molds. This has to be prepared. They have to be conducted test what exactly that strength or compressibility of the test in that laboratory. If it is strength is achieved, then only you can use that particular specimen or particular samples or particular proportions in the field. The compressive strength of these specimens tested after 7 days of curing, then have to be plotted as per that guidelines. Graph is plotted, cement content versus compressive strength, and also cement concrete is corresponding to a strength that minimum that compressive strength of that 17.5 kg per centimeter square is taken as a design cement content. This is that substandard cement content of that compressive strength achieved. Then have to be used for that particular in the field. Next, we'll go with other techniques. Soil lime stabilizations is one of that method. As lime has been widely used as a modifier. Also, you can use it as a binder. Soil lime is used as a modifier in high plasticity soil. That's why we use that as soil lime. That is, soil lime has also imparts some binding actions even in a not only that clay soils, even granular soil also. See that soil lime is effectively used in expansive soil with high plasticity index. So see that this is that road wave that exactly that undulations. Soil lime is effective used in expansive soils with a high plasticity index. Especially this is happened in that wave that blocked on soil. It's a highly swelling and shrinkage characteristics. It's a due to some settlement effect. It is expansive soils. It's a rich in montmorillite, especially that blocked on soils, high liquid limit. That's why you have to go with addition of lime is effectively used in expansive soil with high plasticity index. Some of the factors affecting the properties of the soil limes. So lime is generally that is increasing the lime content causes the slight change in the liquid limit. Before that, we should know what exactly that liquid limit. After that, fixing what exactly that liquid limit. Definitely, it will slight change in that liquid limit. Considerable increase in the plasticity index also, and also the rate of increasing the first rapid, then decreasing behind certain limits. Suddenly, that graph has to be increased rapidly. Then it will take time to decrease behind certain limit. The point is often termed as a line fixation point. This is to be conducted some of that experiment in that laboratory. They have to fix up the line fixation point. Starting 1%, 2%, 3% to go with some of the optimum, then have to be decreased. Then have to fixation. What is that exactly? That optimum percentage of the line. The rate increasing the first rapid, then decreasing behind certain limit. The point is often termed as a line fixation point. This is considered as a design line content. These are that whatever that markets available, various types of lime after that long curing periods. Same effect. Exactly, lime has been found more effective than the hydrated lime, and also calcium carbonate must be heated at higher temperature to form a quick lime calcium oxide, and also calcium oxide must be slaked. This is that by the addition of water to form a hydrated lime. This is what that market that types of lime is available that has to be used. And also compaction done at OMC and maximum density. This is that as usual procedures has to be conducted in that laboratory. Once we should know that what exactly that OMC and MDD of that particular sample. This has to be same as that curing and also additives. Here, what are the techniques? That curing is also very important. Even not only soil lime, even soil cement, soil bitumen, that should be taken that particular curing. The strength of soil lime increases with the curing period up to, even it will not take several months, several days. It will take several years together. That is very important factors to be noted down here. Strength of soil lime increases with the curing period up to several years. The rate of increase in rapid during initial period. Initially, definitely it will increase that rapid during the initial period. And also the humidity of the surrounding also affect the strength. That the surrounding area also affect that humidity. This also it will gain the strength. If you will go with some of the additives, sodium metasilicate and also sodium hydroxide and also sodium sulfate are also found useful for other additives. Even soil bituminous stabilization, the basic principles of the stabilizations are waterproofing and binding. Waterproofing inherent strength and other properties could be also retained. Most commonly used materials are some of the cutback and emulsions. That is the cutback vitamins and emulsions. Most commonly used, that is the soil bituminous stabilization. And also some of the other method, bituminous stabilized layer may be also used as a sub base or even base course for all the roads. Especially if you go with the construction of the roads, that sub base and sub base course. Whatever that subgrade, whatever that soil is available, they have to be constructed. After that, you have to go with some of that sub base, other materials has to be used. That this is that one of the techniques, soil bituminous stabilizations. Then what are the factors affecting the properties of soil by vitamin? Here also some soil, you should know that particle size, shape and gradation of that soil influence in the properties of the soil vitamin mix. And also types of vitamin you can use for that cutbacks for higher grade should be preferred. Emulsion generally gives a slightly inferior results than the cutback. See, this is also very important. You should know that amount of mixing is very important. Increasing the proportion of the vitamin causes a decrease in dry density, but increase in the stability after certain vitamin content. And also optimum vitamin content for maximum stability generally it will ranges from 4 to 6%. This also you can do some trial and error experiments in the laboratory. Then have to fix up what exactly that optimum content for that maximum stability. Generally, it will range within that 4 to 6%. That mixing also type of with the low mixing period may be generally preferred for this. And also this is also very important, compaction. After that, effective compaction results highest stability and resistance to absorb water. And also additives, anti-stripping and reactive chemical additives have been tried to improve the properties of this mix. And also here some Portland cement can also be used along with some soil bitumen. Whatever that ordinary OPC, that is ordinary Portland cement, can also be used along with some soil bitumen to increase the strength. Some of that locally available materials to necessarily available in that construction of that sub-base upgrade. It's very important why that locally available materials to be used for that construction of that base upgrade and sub-base base course. It's very important scarcity of good quality of aggregates, especially for soil road constructions, and also production and accumulations of the different waste materials. Definitely it is available in that industries. Fly ash is one of the huge waste products of the industry that is also can use for that construction of that roads. And it's very important is a disposal and environmental problem. That's why necessity to use of locally available materials is very important and also difficult problem, disposal problem. It's a huge quantity of fly ash is available. That's a very, there's no place is available to dispose that. And also it's environmental problems that in that fly ash is available. It's some small minute particles. It's the environmental effects to problem for even those who are staying near to that plants. Definitely it's a environmental effects and also economical and gainful utilization. Definitely whatever that locally available materials, it's definitely useful for economical and also gainful utilizations. And also before going to use that material, some of the limitations using of waste materials, simply you can't use that whatever that materials available from the industrial waste. Some of the limitations before going to use that materials, that quality of waste is not controlled by their manufacturers. Definitely there is not controlled by the manufacturers. Characteristics byproducts vary in wide range. What are the properties? What are the characteristics? Definitely it will vary in the wide range, especially in the construction practice. The traditional materials to be good quality, and also specification of layers of compaction in traditional materials are not suitable for waste materials. Some of the general criteria for use of waste materials, amount yearly produced waste material should be reached in a certain lower limit. The hauling distance should be acceptance. Simply we can't use that whatever that fly ash is available, that even that Raichur or some Bellary where the thermal plants is there, but you can't use in Bangalore because that amount hauling distance should be acceptable. That's a very important. That is a very important factors. The locally available materials means where exactly that source of locally available materials, they have to be used for the construction purpose. Simply can't that materials to be transported from there to here. And the hauling distance should be more. That is totally uneconomical. We are not supposed to use like that. And also the material should not have a poisonous effect. In that definitely in that there is some poisonous materials also is there. That should not be affected particularly in the groundwater table. The material should be insoluble in water. The utilization should not have a pollutional effect to the environmental. These are the criteria for use before going to waste materials. Special requirement for using that waste materials free from organic matters, should not swell or decay as influenced by water. That's very important factor. Should not swell, should not decay as influenced by water, should not be soluble in water. Whatever that materials should be used, that material should not be soluble in water. Whatever that may be, waste like fly ash or even steel plant slag or whatever that materials wastage should not be soluble in water. Particles should be moderately porous. That whatever that material should be moderately porous. Some of the industrial waste, thermal power stations, you will get some fly ash, bottom ash, and also pond ash. These are different types of ashes available. Fly ash is available directly. It will that fly from that chimney, whatever the ash is collected. Some of the bottom ash and pond ash, it will make some big ponds that will come through some pipes, so it's liquid. It collected through pond. That is in between. There is a bottom ash. There are 3 different ashes is available in the thermal power stations: fly ash, bottom ash, and also pond ash. Even some of that industrial waste is available. Some steel plants, that is the blast furnace slag is also available, and also granulated black furnace slag, some steel slag. These are some of the industrial waste is available to use for the construction of that particularly roads. Simply can't that utilization of that fly ash is a thermal power major role in that power generations. Indians have a use of coal with high ash content. Negligible utilization of ash produced, and also bulk utilization, especially civil engineering like construction of roads and embankments. Even today, nowadays, to use for that manufacturers of cement, especially for non-pozzolanic fly ash, various flash is available in the industry. That is the pozzolanic and non-pozzolanic flash is available that has to be utilized for that industry, that has to be used for that construction of civil engineering applications, roads, and also even embankments. Utilization of fly ash can be used for the construction of embankments and also even backfills. Nowadays, that especially reinforced earth approaches that has to be used as a backfill materials. Instead of we'll go with some poorly graded sand or poorly graded soil that has to be used as some embankment approaches. You can use for that fly ash embankments and also as a backfill materials, and also stabilization of subgrade and subbase that has to be used. Stabilization, subgrade, subbase, and also rigid and semi-rigid pavements that has to be used for construction of cement roads and even semi-rigid pavements. Fly ash properties vary widely to be characterized before use, and also major constituents in that fly ash is the oxides of silica is present, alumina, iron, calcium, and also magnesium. It's environmentally safe material for the road constructions, especially that fly ash is a environmental friendly to safe use of these materials for the construction of that roads, and also possesses many favorable properties for embankment and also road constructions. Already told, that especially this is very useful for that high embankment and road constructions. Some of the favorable properties of fly ash is a lightweight, lesser pressure on subsoil, high shear strength compared to that what of that soil. This is some high shear strength. Coarser ashes have a high CBR value. See that should know that especially that CBR value, California bearing ratio. Some of that sometimes that soil in construction for the subgrade CBR value is not good. Then you have to mix with some addition of to increase that CBR value. Coarser ashes have higher CBR value, and also pozzolanic in nature. Especially there are two types of fly ash. One is pozzolanic and non-pozzolanic. Especially pozzolanic fly ash is a cementitious bonding. Once you have to put in some water into that fly ash, it's like a properties. It acts like a cement. If it's non-pozzolanic fly ash is not like that. It's a different this contents is there compared to that pozzolanic fly ash. That's a class F fly ash. Additional strength due to self-hardening, and also amenable to stabilization, ease of compactions, and also high permeability, non-plastic. Definitely, if you take that some fly ash to mix with some soil to make a thread like that soil of clay, you will get some plastic limit, but it's a non-plastic. You are not supposed to get any plastic limit value. That's why complete is a non-plastic. That's why we conducted so many experiments in our laboratory in that fly ash. We are not supposed to conduct liquid limit in that Casagrande apparatus in the particularly fly ash. We have to go with some cone penetration test, that is the cone penetrometer, to conduct that liquid limit. Then usually this is a non-plastic. And also faster rate of consolidation, also low compressibility. It's very important, faster rate of consolidation, and also it's a low compressibility, can be compacted using vibratory or even static roller. Some of that engineering properties of fly ash as mentioned here, some of that very important, you should know that exactly that maximum density is around 0.9 to 1.6. And also its equation is negligible. Angle of internal friction is around 30 to 40 degree, and also some of that consolidations at CC and also 0.05 to 0.4. Even you'll go with some particle size distributions. You should know that clay size fractions, seed size fractions, and sand size fractions. See that it is given. And also coefficient of uniformity in the range of 3.1 to 10.7. This is that range of that, the sum of that engineering property. Before going to use that fly ash, we should know that what exactly that engineering properties of the fly ash. Then only you can use for that particular fly ash. And also different differences between some of that Indian fly ash and also some of that US fly ash. Just to should know what exactly that the scenario, that to understand that different fly ash in different countries. You just have to take one country, that the US fly ash, have to compare with some Indian fly ash. See, if you come to that property, compared loss of ignitions is less than 2%. In that US fly ash is 5 to 8%. SO3 content, that silicon oxide, that is 0.1 to 2%, 3 to 4%. CaO content 1 to 3%. In US fly ash, just to sake of knowledge, to increase the concentration of heavy metals in Indian fly ash 3 to 4 times comparison to source of coal. That is also that's very important, depending upon the way that the source of the coal that has to be taken. Here, just have to take 10 times or even more comparison to source of coal. Rate of leaching is lower in the Indian fly ash, is higher in the US fly ash. Just have to know that some knowledge of difference between some of that Indian and US fly ash. Fly ash for road embankments. Already discussed about that ideally suited backfill material for urban industrial areas in areas with weak subsoils. Higher shear strength leads to greater stability. Design is similar to your earth embankments. Intermediate soil layers for ease of construction and also provide confinement. Side slope erosion need to be controlled by the providing soil cover, and also can be compacted under inclement weather condition. Even 50 to 20% saving in the construction cost depending on lead distance. It's very important. If a lead and lift, the distance is very less, definitely can say that total 15 to 20% savings construction cost. See that one of the typical cross sections of the fly ash in the road embankment. Here, see that bottom ash or even pond ash is used here. See this the earth cover. See that different layers of the pavement, even that used is that this is the earth cover. Fly ash for the road embankment. One of the examples I've taken that approach embankment for one of that second Nizamuddin bridge at Delhi. That has to be shown. That sketch is the next slide. Total length of that embankment is 1.8 kilometers. Height varies from 6 to 9 meters. That ash, that is fly ash, utilized around 150,000 cubic meters. See that what are that fly ash is available near to that. Embankment open to traffic in the year 1998. Instrumentation installed in the embankment showed very good performance. Approximate saving due to that usage of fly ash is about around 1 crore. See that? See that? Where exactly that embankment fly ash has to be used. See that this 0.5 meters the muram has to be used. The 2 meter thick earth cover has to be used completely from year to year. Earth cover. This is the ground level. This is the 0.3 meter stone pitching. This is a total 2 meter pond ash. This is a one layer like a 0.4 meters is a muram or some thick earth cover has to be provided. Again, go with 2 meters. This is a use almost height of embankment is a 2, 4, 7, 8 meters height of embankment. Again, you have to cover some 0.4 meter thick of some earth cover. Again, you have to put some pond ash. Then you have to be compacted properly. Then you have to go with some 0.5 meters of the earth cover. Then top layer has to be muram. Like that has to be approach for the embankment. This is that one of the bridge at Delhi. See that spreading of pond ash. See that how that road has to be. See that has to be excavated. Whatever that early debris or dosing with some use some dozers. They have to dose it. They have to spread that fly ash. Then it have to be compacted using vibratory rollers. That's very important. They have to be compacted some vibratory rollers. They have to spread it, they have to be compact it properly. See that stone pitching for the slope protections is to be provided. This is what the discussions in the earlier slides. The thickness, different layers of the fly ash is to be compacted. We provided a stone pitching for the slope protections. This is traffic playing on the embankment for that vehicles. See that. And also utilization of fly ash for four laning work in National Highway 6. See that the length of the stretch is 54 km, right of the embankment 3 to 4 meter, fly ash utilization 2 billion cubic meters, especially in the waterlogged areas. That construction is very challenging. That what the topic is today is challenging in civil engineering. Not only we'll have to construct a major bridge and buildings in that the challenges. It's a geotechnical and highway engineers is very challenging one. Especially in that waterlogged area, it's very difficult to construct even small roads. Even small stretch, even 50 to 100 meter stretch of the roads is very difficult to construct it. Even today, there are so many difficulties, so many challenges. Still, we are not going to give the solutions. Especially taken that one Siradi Ghat. Still, we can't go with the construction of even rigid payment. Whatever the type of constructions, again it will fail in 6 months or even less than 6 months. Because let's say water is the culprit for that soil. Once the water is entered that soil, it's the culprit. That's why try to avoid that waterlogged areas. That what precautions to be taken, what is the method to be taken for the construction of that subgrade. It's very important. Once the subgrade is good, subgrade like a foundation, then it have to be compacted properly. Then have to use whatever that material is properly. Then have to go with sub-base, base and surface courses like a foundations. That's why here there is a utilization of fly ash as that in the subgrade. Then have to be make with small drains to that drain of water to that adjacent to that construction of that subgrade. They have to be layer by layer compactions. They have to achieve the density. Simply can't go with whatever that fly ash have to spread simply compacted. They have to check that density, what exactly density achieved in the field and laboratory. Then have to check with percentage compaction. Then only have to go with next layer of that even fly ash, whatever the soil has to be compacted. This is especially in waterlogged areas. It's very difficult. This is a challenging one. Had to be constructed a road to allow the traffic. Next, reinforced fly ash embankment. Fly ash, better backfill materials. Reinforced embankments. Polymeric reinforced materials, geogrids, even friction ties, and also geotextiles. Even that reinforced fly ash embankments, especially geogrids and friction ties and even geotextiles, is very important role. It acts as a reinforcement, it acts as a drainage, it acts as separators. Especially polymeric reinforcing materials, geogrid, it's available in the market. Even friction ties, geotextiles, and also construction sequence similar to the reinforced earth structures. What are the materials used for the geogrids, friction ties? I'll show one or two slides. Next, the construction sequence similar to that what you are going to construct the reinforced earths. So one of the flyover approaches embankment. First, geogrid reinforced fly ash approaches embankment constructed in the country. Length of the embankment is 59 meters. Height varied from 5.9 to 7.8 meter. Ash utilized is 2,700 cubic meters open to traffic in 1996. Performance has been very good. See that show that typical reinforcement foundation matters of bottom ash. Here it is that the height of the embankment 7.8 to 9 meters completely filled with the pond ash. In between there is a geogrid. This geogrids acts as a reinforcement. This acts as a separators. This acts as the drainage. See this some of the facing panels. You see that show that next slide, that is that facing panels has to be constructed in the reinforced earth. Some of the filter media provided in between. Locally, flyover approach embankments. See that erections of facing panels. These are the facing panels to be erected. These are the geogrids. They have to backfill that materials. They have to be compacted. See that the layer by layer compactions. So the layer of fly ash. Sometimes they have to go with some mixed with the poorly graded sand also. You can do it if it is available. That has to be filled with constructed. I'll discuss later that what exactly that reinforced that concept and also what exactly that mechanism behind this. Just before that, I want to show that utilization of ash to be constructed in the reinforced earth. This is the supporting provided to the facing panels during the constructions. These are the supporting panels to provided the facing panels for the constructions. This is the plywood approaches for the embankments. See the laying of geogrids. See, this is the geogrids has to be provided. They have to put some geogrids. They have to put some what are the ash has to be spread and has to be compacted. This geogrids is very important applications. I've discussed in that later slides. See on the Hanuman Setu flyover approach in the embankments, geogrid reinforced approach of the embankment is also length of the embankment is 138.4 meters, height varied from 3.4 to 1 meters, open traffic in the year 1997. And also one more that approach embankment is 90 meters, is 5.25 meters height. In the year 2001, traffic is a constant to be used. See, this is one of that friction test used for that. See that this is the polymeric friction test to be used for the construction. See that is that the typical sketch. Sarita Vihar flyover reinforced approach embankment. These are the arrangement of friction test before laying the point ash. See that how that arrangement has to be made for before laying the point ash. See that after the ones that sponge ash has to be spread, has to be compacted, both vibratory roller and also ordinary roller. There to be compaction of ash using the static as well as vibratory roller. See, sometimes it's difficult to use that static and vibratory roller approach to that near to that facing panels. Then you can use compaction using plate vibratory near the facing panels. You can use the hand vibratory. You can manually, you can use this plate vibration near the facing panel. It's difficult to come out that that is the what that vibratory roller or even static rollers to come out that near the facing panel, because there have to be compact the soil completely. No, that's why you can use that plate vibratory near to the facing panels. Even that flash for road constructions to be mixing with soil, reduce plasticity, additional small percentage of lime, leaching lime inhabited the pond ash, bottom ash can also be stabilized. Even lime ash also mixed with better alternate moram. Even fly ash for the road constructions, even rigid and semi-rigid way, fly ash admixture concrete payments, and also lime fly ash should be bound macadam and also precast blocks also used for this. Now see, this is some of the typical cross section of the flexible pavement conventional sections. We know that the GSP granulars of base, that waterborne macadam of 2 layers and bituminous macadam and also dense bituminous macadam and dense concrete. This is some of the typical cross section of the flexible pavement conventional sections, and also typical cross section flexible pavement using fly ash. See that if it is a fly ash is abundantly available, you can use this fine ash up to 350 mm. After that, you can some 6% of lime has to be added with. You can go with another layers like that. Has to be constructed subbase, base, and surface courses. And also typical cross section of rigid pavement, same as pond ash and also trilene, that is concrete, and also fly ash mixed with. Some of that here demonstration. Our Karnataka, there is a Raichur. Here there is a one thermal power plant. You can use that ash. There is a demonstration road project Raichur. Total length of the road is 1 kilometer. 5 sections of 200 meter each with the different pavement sections. Pond ash been used for replacing the moram in sub-base course. And also stabilization of pond ash used for replacing the pot of waterborne macadam layer. One rigid pavement section is to be used for this. And also performance of all these specification is good. See that mixing of lime, stabilized pond ash is available near the plant. There is in a Raichur thermal power plant because plenty of flash is available. Use that. One of that Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana road has to be demonstrated and constructed. This is one of the challenging that has to be used for that mixing of lime. See that. construction of roller compacted concrete pavement completely. See this view of the road demonstration after 3 years. See that. See that one of that near UP. This that also. See that demonstration road project. Same as earlier one. See that this is stabilized base force mixing with other materials compacted. Some of that before going to use that, some of the specifications as per Indian Road Congress guidelines, this to be very important. Simply you can't use that, especially the pavement constructions. IRC 60 and ISO 68, ISO 74, ISO 88. There's recommended some standard specifications. According to that has to be used. Guidelines for use of fly ash and road embankment also. It's published recently in Indian Road Congress. SP 58 2001 include design aspect and also handling and construction. Some of the techniques as per the guidelines used to be used. And also utilization of steel slag also. Production of slag is available in this is also one of that materials from the blast furnace slag, that is GBFS, granulated blast furnace slag. This also be used in these constructions. CRR makes some utilization of steel slag, characterization of slag product, laboratory studies, and also semi-field studies. These are the some of that properties of air cooled and also steel slags properties. Road projects excluded under CRI guidelines using slags. Some of that guidelines has to be followed by CRI, Central Road Research Institute. This has to be constructed that using that materials. Complete line stabilization of with iron slag in that one of the road has to be constructed in Odisha. This is proceeds municipal waste. That's also one of the solid waste is available nowadays. Is very problematic to disposal problem, especially municipal waste. This is one of the challenging, especially in Bangalore. It's very important municipal waste. This waste has to be used to process municipal waste to utilize the construction test track on village road near Delhi. Stabilized municipal waste used for the construction of subways there, and also performance stretch is also good in this. This is also one of that kimberlite tiling waste product from the diamond mining. See, that's one of the techniques where the diamond mining is there, that is available. You can use for that construction. This after that laying of the geotextile soft base. See, this one of the sketch has to be laying of the geotextile subgrade. After 3 years, that construction of the geotextiles 3 years is like this. See, stabilizations of natural slopes. See, it's one of the natural slope using the geogrids, geotextiles used for that natural slope has to be stabilization techniques for the natural slopes. Now that what exactly the reinforced earth, I discussed so many slides in the reinforced earth. The reinforced, that Latin word that is reinforced, to reinforce, to strengthen. For the means strength, combination of soil and reinforcement. Here soil reinforcement, here it is used as a geogrid or geofiber or geonets. What are that combinations used? The combination of soil and reinforcement. This improves the load settlement characteristics of the soil. This was first in that middle in the year 1969. Research in this field of the term as a engineering, and is one of the fast growing technique which is becoming a popular all over the world. But exactly the concept of the reinforced earth is basic principle is naturally by animals and birds and the action of tree roots. Development of friction between soil and reinforcement. Soil transfer the forces developed to the reinforcement. Reinforcement thus develop the tension, and earth behave as if it has a cohesion in those direction where the reinforcements are placed. What exactly mechanism of reinforced earth? In the year 1985, Jewell identified 3 main mechanisms of interaction between the soil and the geogrid. First one is soil shearing on the plane surface of the geogrid, soil bearing the lateral surface of the geogrids, that is the skin friction and passive pressure resistance of the contact area between soil and geogrid, soil shearing over the soil through aperture of the geogrid. These are the 3 important mechanism of interaction between the soil and the geogrid. The soil shearing, the interfacial shear on the surface of the rupture zone created during the shearing. See, this is that collapse of the RA walls. Once that this is due to that problem is collapsed, the design is not properly, and also that whatever that material used here, that is also not properly compacted. And also whatever that the geogrids used here, that is also not properly placed. That's why one of the collapse of earth reinforced wall. Some of the field applications of reinforced earth is generally used in the retaining wall, road constructions, railway track, machine foundations, soil railings, and earthen dams, and slope protection, and also embankments. Some of the advantages of reinforced earth also reduction in the cost and ease of construction, increase the construction speed, poor fill materials can be strengthened, high resilience can withstand dynamic forces, even that is earthquake, blast, etc. Better. Increase in bearing capacity, reduction in differential, that is the tilt and net foundation settlements, reducing the necessity of defoundation, change the type of foundations. These are the some of the advantage of reinforced earth. See, this is one of that erosion control in the landslide mitigations, loss of excessive material from the surface, natural or man-made slope by the action of wind or water. This is to that provide some one geo grid with square grid used massive geogrids, and this has to be used for that erosion control landslide mitigations. This is one of the applications. See that erosion control the steep slopes, one of that place that's especially in the Smithsonian place, slope protection with the geogrid. These are some applications. Erosion control and road embankment at one of the place is soil predominantly erosion due to surface runoff as well as wave action of water flooding. Both sides of the alignment, use of non-woven geotextile to contain erosion of the side slope, and also failure of geotextile layer due to improper anchoring. Use of jute geotextiles in trench drains. See that one of that geotextiles in a trench. See that jute textile view the complete drain in the positions. A view of completed drains. See that the slope protection, that is the drain. That merge usage of geosynthetic will not ensure good performance, and also proper selection of geosynthetics, correct design and quality assurance has to be win-win situation. Popularizing the technology through demonstration project, involving guidelines usage, establishing country-wide geosynthetic testing facility, making available good quality of geotextile at competitive price. It's available in market. Incentive to indigenous manufacturers. Thank you. Hello, participant. Any questions regarding this my presentation?
Sir, yes, sir.
Please.
Sir, I'm Kiran, sir.
Please, Kiran, tell me.
Questions in chat box.
Yeah, please.
Sir, in so first question,
Yeah.
which type is suitable for soil stabilization? Is there any effect on soil properties if high pozzolanic fly ash is used?
Each type means depending upon the soil. Actually, we are not supposed to decide what exactly this type is suitable or that type is suitable. First, we have to identify the soil. In depending upon the soil, suppose that black cotton soil is high swelling and shrinkage. Then you have to go with what type of soil is available, then what are the properties of soil. Then you have to decide in that what exactly. Pardon?
Sorry, sir.
You have to go with or some other techniques has to be used depending upon the soil conditions. There you have to go with stabilization techniques depending upon the soil. Not we can exactly say this type of stabilization is good, this type of stabilization is good. Depending upon the soil, then you have to decide.
Yes, sir.
Which
Sir, one more question. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, is it possible to achieve required density as per IRC if pond ash is used in a subgrade?
definitely you can achieve because the pond ash, bottom ash, fly ash, all the three ashes. First, we should put the properties of pond ash. Then you have to mix with soil. Then you have to achieve in the laboratory first what exactly that compaction OMC and NDD. Then you have to feed. Then you have to calculate the percentage compaction. Definitely you can achieve. Next question, Kiran.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So one more. Which type of strength test is suitable for subgrade soil when alternative materials are used in road construction?
Which type of test is required for strength subgrade?
Yes, sir.
Generally, the subgrade, you should know that what exactly that first core cutter method or sand replacement method. We should know what exactly that OMC and MVD.
Yes,
Suppose subgrade is constructed layer by layer, no? First,
Yes,
we should know that what is the layer of subgrade has to be compacted. You have to check the density in OMC. Suppose the density is not achieved, even 95% to 100%, then you have to go with the number of rollers to roll that compacted completely. Then you have to check again what exactly the density has to be achieved. Then only we'll go for the next layer.
yes, sir. Thank
Generally,
you.
that 70% core cutter method is suitable for identification. Check the density.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Yes, sir. That's all, sir. If you get any
Okay.
more questions, we will forward to through mail, sir.
Please forward it. Then my mail ID also forward it. If anything is regarding that questions, I'll answer to that questions through my mail.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your immense knowledge on use of locally available materials and stabilization techniques in the field of geotechnical engineering. Hope our participants have gained more knowledge in this particular topic. Thank you very much, sir. Now I would
Thank you very
request Mr. Dr. Remis Nagraj Gupta, sir, HOD, Department of Civil Engineering, EWIT, for the vote of thanks for the day. Sir.
Good afternoon, one and all attended this 1 week webinar on challenges in civil engineering. First of all, I thank all of you for attending this event today. Then I would like to thank Dr. Mudaraju sir. Sir is very much busy and sir has to attend one PhD thesis. But when we requested sir and sir agreed and he has spent his time, valuable time here. We thank you very much, you sir, from our Department of Civil Engineering of East West Institute of Technology. Thank you very much, sir. And participants, if you have any queries, okay, you can put
Thank
it
you,
in
thank you, sir.
chat box. We will forward it to sir, and in turn, sir will reply to you. Okay? And sir,
Of course, sir. Definitely, I'll reply that whatever the questions, queries through mail.
mail ID is already shared to you on the screen. Sir, can you just tell your mail ID, sir?
Muddu MUDDU muddu.hc.
Okay, it is displayed.
It is displayed muddu.hc@gmail.com.
And if any queries are there in chat box, we will forward it to you, sir. Kindly
Please
answer
forward,
that,
please
and
forward.
in turn we will be sending it to the
My level best, definitely.
participants. Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, one and all. Thank you for
one and all.
participating.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much, sir. Thank you once again, sir. And I thank all the participants for participating in today's session. Thank you very much. So I request everyone to give the same participation for day 3. That is a session 3, which will be starting at 11 o'clock tomorrow. The link will be shared in the groups, and also the link will be mailed to the respective mail IDs within 10:30. So that you can join this session prior half an hour. Okay, thank you everyone once again. Thank you so much. And the feedback link will be shared in the chat box. So you can submit your feedback for today's session. It will be, I think the link is already shared in the chat box. So everyone, please submit your feedbacks for today's session. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone. Thank you.
Tomorrow's speaker will be a scientist from National Institute of Hydrology. He will be speaking on water resources management, that is flood and flood mapping. Okay. All of you can attend and get knowledge of water resources management. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.